I know. I do want to keep talking here about rookies, and I'm going to hit you back with a rookie running back from last year's class. His name is J.K. Dobbins. I've talked on this podcast, talked on the Ball Blast podcast. I've talked to anybody who will listen to me. I've shouted at people in the street corner saying, what's really cool about the Ravens backfield going into this next season is we saw they would finally throw to their running backs, and the running backs were finally getting targets. Ergo, when J.K. Dobbins comes back, he's going to get targets. Because if Devonta Freeman at like 80 years old can wrangle quite a few targets, then J.K. Dobbins can do it. But now I'm starting to get scared, Dustin. Plainly, I'm scared because unlike even with Travis Etienne, where we've heard some news with the injury, like we've heard things, we've been sort of kept up to date on him. Not as much as like Cam Akers or something, but we've been kept up to date. We haven't heard shit for J.K. Dobbins. We've heard nothing except that they're coming in and sniffing around all these running backs.
Right.
They're bringing in a bunch of rookie running backs for their visits. They were sniffing around Melvin Gordon, which is terrifying because we both know and love and appreciate Melvin Gordon, even at this stage in his career. I think it would be silly to think that he couldn't pull off maybe a Mark Ingram role from back when he was still with the Ravens.
Yep.
And so what does that leave for J.K. Dobbins? Gus Edwards is still there. Gus Edwards is just that thing that never goes away. You know, he's like that mold that you just cannot get removed. And sorry, that was rude to Gus Edwards. I don't know why I all of a sudden wanted vengeance on Gus Edwards, but I do think all of that complicates J.K. Dobbins. And the fact that we still, again, haven't really seen him, what the hell do I do with that? So unless I get a firm update and they avoid all the running backs that are out there via draft, via free agency, I'm done. I'm out on J.K. Dobbins for the year, flat out. Unless he falls outrageously low in the draft, like I'm talking about double digits, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever fall quite that far. He might get close. I mean, if they draft a rookie or like you said, bring in Melvin Gordon, yeah, he'll plummet from. Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably a third round pick, third or fourth right now. I'm just off the top of my head. So yeah, I could see him dropping, maybe to like the 7th or 8th, dropping a few rounds, but not into the double digits. I think people would still be way too high on him regardless. So while Jake, it looks like you're probably going to miss out on him if that happens. But yeah, it's been really odd that we haven't heard anything or seen any hype videos come out. They love to do the workout videos that, they're running through the gauntlet or, running the ropes or, whatever it is, showing that they're, back on track. But yeah, we haven't seen any of that. And it is a little concerning. And while, yes, they were passing more to the backfield this year, do we know that that's going to continue to happen? I mean, this was really the first time that we've seen that offense ever utilize the backfield in that way.
And it was partly because they just started upping the pass attempts. And it was really dramatic how many passes they threw last year compared to 2020. And so I think that regression would be reasonable to expect there too. And just the sheer number of pass attempts. Because you're right. It's not even that they got a bigger share of the pie. It's just that the pie got bigger and therefore they got more targets.
Right. So that's probably for me, other than not hearing any news, that's probably my biggest worry is that I feel like that could be an outlier last year. And like you said, things might regress back to what we've traditionally seen out of that offense. But like you said, if we get news here in the off season and, in a week and a half with the draft, if they don't draft a running back until maybe like the 6th round or something, then, I'm not going to be too concerned. And then if they don't bring in a running back here in the the rest of the off season before training camp starts, I'll feel a little bit better and would probably take him. I mean, I still really like him, but it is concerning that we haven't heard anything yet.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. I want to gauge if you're as low on J.K. Dobbins as I am. Let's suppose that Baltimore signs David Johnson, who is technically a free agent. He was with Houston last year. He got a ton of carries, by the way. His workload was big last year. It was the Texans. So what are you going to do? But if he signs with the Ravens, Would you take Dobbins in the first 5 rounds?
Yeah, I would.
You'd still be good because is that your assurance that like, oh, they didn't go for a big name guy, they went for David Johnson?
Yeah, because David Johnson, I think at that point, and I know it sounds counterintuitive, would be more of like the third down pass catching back, which I know is what we're just saying. That's kind of what we're relying on here. But you know that probably wouldn't take away from Dobbins' role too significantly.
So
He'd
you
still
get
have
the
that.
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, you'd still get the rushing. You get the rushing touchdowns, and maybe that's more of like an insurance policy that as he becomes healthier throughout the season, that maybe David Johnson would kind of get phased out at that point. But you want like a veteran that you can rely on, that still has a little bit of tread left on the tires.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. But I think what you said about David Johnson being the third down back, which is totally right. He would be. He's a good pass catcher. That's actually
Mhm.
the thing that would keep me from drafting him in the first 5 rounds. I'd like that a hell of a lot more than if Melvin Gordon went there.